Hi, and welcome to Keep Sane. This is cheaper than therapy. Um, Again, for me, this is episode 9, and it's going to be called Tech Support and You. Reason being is I do tech support. Um, Not like you think. I actually fix printers and do end users, and I do a lot of IT related things, but this particular is about printer repair. Um, as part of an IT department, that's my little niche. I also help end users and stuff, but my primary niche is fixing laser printers, not like what you have at home. Although they are HPs and stuff like that. But a home um, printer is very different, mainly in cost. But I mean, there's so many different mechanics as far as ink versus toner. First thing for a printer is just real basic helpful information. If you have a home office or inkjet, you have ink. That is different than toner. The internals of your printer are very different. Laser printers essentially have cook the toner onto the page. It's why businesses use it because when you take your hand and smear it across the page, it doesn't rub off. Ink doesn't do that. Maybe someday they'll have it to where it does, and there's different versions, but essentially it's almost toner's like a powder that it's held magnetically and then it cooks going through what's called a fuser. It fuses it to the paper. Whereas ink is literally just wet ink onto a page. And it doesn't get cooked dry to where it doesn't rub off. But again, that's why businesses use it. They spend a ton of money. Not talking about the ink printers, although I will ask because I fix commercial printers. Understand the term difference. If you are at work and it's a bigger machine, even if it's not that big, but it's a laser device, please don't say it's out of ink. It's just annoying, um, especially since most repair companies don't fix ink printers. Um, so it's just one of those things. It really means nothing except for it does tell us if you understand anything about the device you're supposed to be using and calling in for help on. Um, no, really, my issue with tech support is because I get tickets handed down through a few levels of triage. Triage being, I'm having a problem, you call help desk. Help desk tries to help you really quick to turn it off and on. If you've seen IT Crowd, love that British show. Um, the very first episode, is the ha ha ha, have you turned it off and on bit. Hilarious, especially if you've ever worked IT. The standard is my cup holder broken. They're talking about, the CD or the DVD drive. And they were using it as a cup holder, things like that. But when you call in, have time. Don't call in when you're too impatient to talk. Um, because if you don't have all the information, they're going to ask you for it. And it's your job, if you want actual support, to provide that information. Don't make up stories. I mean, it's bad enough if you don't give us the proper information because we have to close a ticket. We have no way to know who to support if you don't give us the actual identification number of the printer. If they ask you for make and model, um, some companies have identifiers, others don't. Some have support tags with the specific support number where they keep a database of what it is, but sometimes those are incomplete. People make mistakes, don't fill it in properly. Maybe the device was replaced, so it has the old information. So understand if you want service and you want it done well, please call in when you have time to answer questions, or don't get short and snippy with the person who says I need more information. If you're too busy to do it, you don't need that much help. Seriously, it's not that important if you can't take an extra 2 minutes or 5 minutes to get the right information. And if you think everything you work with is stupid and broken, find a different job. Find a different company to work for. If you can only have a bad attitude, you shouldn't be the one that can call anything in. Because I guarantee you're not the one we want to support. We will go out of our way to avoid you, which means we want to avoid the device you want help with because we don't want to talk to you and listen to you gripe about something you most likely created. Here's a little bit of information. 90% of my job is fixing operator created problems. with operator fake urgency. Now, I am happy to help someone who appreciates it, who has the time, who, even if they admit, I don't know if I did it, but, please help me. I'm happy to go out of my way to help that person, and if they have the time, I will try to teach them how to prevent it for future. I always try to teach users how to prevent from having to wait or call help desk, or at least know what to give us information wise. I try to educate people. A lot of people don't like that for some reason. I've been told they felt talked down to. They felt stupid. Well, I feel stupid when I don't know something. That's why I like people to explain it to me. I always try to be helpful and do the same thing. Apparently, a lot of people find that insulting. If you do, unless someone's barking at you, like yelling at you, understand they're trying to help you. I'm not trying to hurt someone's feelings. I'm trying to make it easier for them not to wait a day or two by the time it gets to me and me get to site. I'm trying to make it so you can get service right away and get it fixed. So make sure you have time, get all the information. And if you don't, understand they might need you to wait until you have a few more minutes and get that proper information to them. Another big thing, and I don't know why this should be a help desk fix, but a lot of user phone numbers are not in the system accurately. Like the direct contact, not like the phone to the phone tree. But if you're calling for tech support, that text should not have to go through the phone tree waiting for an operator or the intake person or a receptionist or whoever filters those calls to answer the phone and you to say the name on the ticket, you know, and for them to be like, "Oh, let me find them," and then transfer to an extent. I mean, that's a lot of wasted time. If you call in something, make sure I have the most direct way to reach you, whether I'm asking a question or asking you to, in my case, put in a toner because you have backups and for some reason either you're too lazy to or no one's told you because you're new where the actual backup toners are. Um, you know, because like I said, operator created issues. People underuse devices. Well, toners settle weird. They don't know to shake the cartridge. Um, they don't know if it's got a blank white strip. Most likely, shake the cartridge. A toner settled weird in it. The drum could have issues. If it keeps happening, change the toner. If you make sure if you don't have a backup, then let them know. But check. Um, the because laser printers tend to be corporate, I service places that have backups. So that way, if it ever goes bad or something happens, they can replace it right away. They don't have to wait that time to have it become an issue or have it be urgent. Um, so it's one of those things. Make sure you ask the questions. Don't just sometimes there's a few people designated to helping you with your printer or computer monitor label, whatever it is, um, problem before they have you call it in. Because it also depends on service contracts. Some things are billable, some things are not. They're part of a service contract. Um, some things have warranty, some don't. So, it's always best to, as calmly ask as possible. Uh, the other thing is be nice. That seems like it should be a common thing. Um, if we call, you're in a hurry, so we're going to speak fast. It's not rude. It's you say you're busy. I need information. I'm going to speak fast at you so you can hear it really quick and waste the literally smallest amount of time and respond. It's not yelling, getting yelled at. Um, so be nice. So we're here to help each other. I get paid to help you. You get paid to do your job, and part of your job is being able to communicate with vendors if they need to communicate with you to properly support the equipment you need to work. Um, also like I work on some contracts where, we're other, where we don't make the decisions on the devices you get to have. Understand, corporate policies are outside of the field people. You may not like that someone else is telling you how your job's going to go. I don't like it either. But if I have to implement policy by taking your printer away, don't argue with me. It wasn't my call. And if I let you know, oh, by the way, that this new policy is going to be taking effect, if you don't like it, go talk to your boss. They're part of that problem. Part of what you have a problem with. The person getting paid to do their job is just like you, having to follow rules they may or may not agree with. Hands are tied, can't always get new equipment, things like that. So just patience and understanding, just as much as you would want from anybody else. And these are kind of the main things. They seem self-explanatory, but you know, people, they always feel like their stuff's cheap. Like, oh, you guys get us such cheap stuff, or whatever else. And I don't buy any of this stuff. I really don't. And most of the, especially printer techs and stuff I work for, you actually are, printer techs I've worked with, even desktop techs. Devices that you get are not chosen by the people who have to try to keep them running. Software is the same thing. You know, what you get, when you get it, how you get it, the setup in general, your production style, for doing your work. Most of that are things that are decided by CEOs, CIOs, information officers, for IT and stuff like that. They're by managers, directors, um, people above the pay grade of, the service tech, the people who have the skills to keep them running. And we have those fights too. We just have them with our IT managers. We have them with our contract holders, about getting better equipment or changing the flow to make it cost effective so you can still have a job and get paid, but at the same time not hit production too much and not hurt workflow too much. Um, those are usually behind the scenes. You don't listen to those gripes because, I mean, you may hear them a little bit. I know I occasionally talk to people I know well enough and service long enough that, I'll kind of give them a heads up and without giving up too much information so I don't get fired over it. But, it's one of those things that those decisions get made beyond, and to take it out on the person who's just trying to help you and get on with their work day, just like you want on it for you, isn't nice. I mean, and again, it'll hurt you the support you get. They may be there, but they're going to be begrudgingly, and they're never going to fight for you to get what you want. If anything, the people that are rude to me, I'm happy to implement policies they don't like because they're rude. I want to make them as unhappy as they make me, and it's petty and it's cheap, but it's a natural human thing, at least American. I don't know about everywhere else. I mean, but it's a normal thing. So I'm just asking, spend some time, have some understanding, realize we're all trying to do the same thing of making a living and keeping things working. I mean, if I have everything work, I don't really have a job, but at the same time, people magnificently break their devices. Oh, a couple quick tips on printers, before I shut up and let you guys go. One, check the toner. If it's an image quality issue on an HP, the drum and the toner are in the toner cartridge. Again, this is small printers, small multifunctions. Um, that cartridge is got almost everything to do with quality. Um, so if you have a little white line or anything like that, any print quality issue, even if it's not the fix, try changing the toner. Or at least shake it first, then change it. Um, if you get black gunk on the back and it's kind of a scraggly line, you might have a bad fuser. That's an expensive fix, depending on the contract you have or the support. If it's jamming all the time and you can't find the piece of paper, there's a few things. Standard cause and easiest thing for you to check would be take all the paper out of the tray, the little cassette tray that pops in and out, which is on an HP is generally referred to as tray 2. I know it doesn't make sense, but the manual feed you pop down as tray 1. Um, Take all the paper out, make sure there's nothing crumpled, no bent corners, nothing folded in, like anywhere from top to bottom. That stack of papers needs to be smooth and like flush. The second part is make sure the tray, there's a little adjuster for the size. Make sure the arrow points to LTR for letter, if you're putting letter size paper in there, of course, but since that's so standard, um, my default. So make sure it says that, because if that piece breaks, it can start sliding around. If people slam the drawer too much or they rough with the paper putting in, it'll jam, and that's human created. I've rushed to site many a times just to find out someone loaded paper into a not empty tray, and when they did that, they did it rough and they crumpled the next couple pieces that were already in the tray, and so it started jamming. And they're like, can't find the jam. Well, it's not jamming because it's not picking it up out of the tray. The next thing would be that same jam can't find the piece of paper. You would have to call it in because it's most likely a solenoid. This tends to be on the bigger ones, which would be like a 42, like HP 4250, M601, M605, those sort of things. Um, Color printers are a nightmare to fix. If you can go with a good color printer on a service contract, I recommend. Um, but you really aren't going to want to. You really want to use. Don't buy too much machine. Don't buy too little machine. Know the specs. Little printers, and if you're printing over 1,000 pages a month, go to the next size up. Most small printers, 150,000 is a really good life. Um, Even big printers usually need service every 100,000 for rollers and stuff like that. Rollers are another common breakage. 60 to 100,000 on bigger printers. That pickup roller and or the separation roller will start getting bald, like kind of like a set of tires. It won't get traction on paper anymore. Anyway, again, this is printer. I did a little printers. I figure if I do this, I'd maybe try to be a little bit helpful, other than just griping about tech support. Waiters have their thing about certain customers, and tech support people do too. This is my short little run of things I ask you so I can be happier to see you and be more helpful when I show up. Um, and try to get you back up and running. I mean, again, I get paid to get you to work. Um, so let's just make that the best interaction possible. Have a great day.